And on this one, I would recommend going and looking at my video that I did at Hy-Vee New Hope, Hy-Vee Wahlburgers New Hope, because it's kind of similar to what I'm talking about here. So now we're at a store that is, Menards is a lot of construction stuff and remodeling stuff, and but it's always been kind of a male dominated environment, right? With stuff that more men do. I mean, not only men, but just a lot of stuff, plumbing and tools and all that sort of thing. But I mean, I've shopped there, for things. They have food, and they have things like that, and they have all sorts. They've got chargers for phones and all that sort of thing, and just a lot of, a huge variety of things for gardening. So when I was living with my parents, I was over there getting gardening stuff and things like that for them. And, well, I've been shopping there since 1990, the one on 394, right off of 394. I figured out it's got to be about since 1990. And I was shopping there when the Home Depot, they made a big political thing, which is really, it's like not separation of church and state. They're putting their beliefs ahead of being professional with your business. Being professional means I leave out my personal stuff when I do business with people. I don't treat anybody differently because of what they think and what they believe or anything. I just treat everybody the same. And I don't involve my personal beliefs and things to, I mean, unless of course somebody's asking you in your job what you're to be violating your beliefs, but you're not. I mean, and I was very much against what Home Depot was doing. And I was being encouraged by certain organizations that were also talking about it too, boycott, and I was doing that by going to Menards. So now, years later, now I think maybe people who did that are on a shit list for being that they would be boycotting Home Depot. But most recently now, I bought a shed for $300 and a phone charger at Menards. And I was at Menards one day, and a guy was playing their grand piano, and he was playing this kind of jazzy music. So I sat down and I started playing, and I've been working a lot on music by Seal on the piano. And I sat down, I was playing, and it was fine. I got up and left. Nobody said anything. It was just fine. But I went over, and I was just in the process of looking for stuff, and I just thought to go and sit down outside of the break area. There's a bench there that I've been told is fine for non-employees. And I was sitting there, and I had like slip-on shoes or slip-on sandals, and the manager suddenly came over, and I had Jimi Hendrix's music for the song Fire in my ears with earbuds. And he came over, and he told me that he was offended by that my shoes had fallen off. That's what he said, and I just found it so strange. I didn't have a big argument with him or anything. I just got up, I suppose I let him know I thought he was being really weird or whatever, but I got up and just left. I went down to the garden area, and I told someone about it, and he said, well, why don't you just, if you want to sit down in one of the chairs here. And I did, and along came a security person saying that he was kicking me out, This is all that happened, and I was shopping, and I had been shopping, and I'd been spending money. So then that happened that day, and I left, and I didn't make a big. I just left, but I came back a little while later, and again there was nobody on the piano. I sat down on the piano, and I started. I mean, and nothing happened in between this. At this store, the only thing was that manager saying he didn't like that my shoes were. I mean, so I sat down, and I was starting to play Seal's music again, and along comes this security lady, who's all full of piercings and stuff, and she has two sheriffs come to kick me out, just out of the blue. So one of them says to me, this store is for paying customers. And if you can believe that. So they were told that I'm not a paying customer. That they were told, the sheriffs were told that. This is for paying customers only. Then I tried to tell this one sheriff, no, I'm a paying customer since 1990. I bought a shed. I just bought a charger, and my charger was probably going to need to be returned because it wasn't working. The guy then threatened to arrest me, the sheriff, for even saying that, for protesting that this wasn't true about me. He said he was threatening. So I mean, the weird of them, but the weird of the sheriffs, which I mean that's a whole other subject. But then I looked back. So then they kicked me out and they gave me a no trespass. So and I look back at it and I realize that this security lady with her that she's probably a lesbian. Okay, then I had to return the phone charger, so I went up to a different Menards, a different location, and there the lady managers and ladies working there everywhere in a male dominated kind of industry, you know, and I take from that their next generation, their women. I mean, really, the generation between like their 20s and their, you know, their 50s, right? You know, this generation. And I take it that they're women who have a problem with being women. They want to challenge gender ideas. They want to be men. They want to do things that men do. That this guard who kicked me out is a woman like that. She's probably a lesbian, and they're just offended by me in every way. Offended by even the music. Even offended by the music. I mean, it's so bizarre and absolutely nothing. I mean, that day that I was walking through the store, when I sat down in outside the employee thing, I was talking to someone and saying, you know, I love to just browse, and then I see things that I sometimes come back and buy later. I had a conversation like that. Oh, another thing that the sheriffs said that they told them that I was rude to their employees. I mean, there was not an incident, not an instance where that was the case. I could not believe it. And you have to figure out why. What you try to figure out, I'm trying to figure out what is motivating them. But again, it seems to be sexuality and sexual roles and sexual issues. It's just bizarre.